Welcome to the debate.
Yeah.
So I want you to picture this. It is the fourth quarter of the 2026 NFC Championship game.
Okay, I'm with you.
It's 3rd and 8. The season is on the line. The opposing quarterback steps up to the line of scrimmage. He's surveying the defense and trying onto the field.
Oh, man.
After 2 full years of retirement,
Right.
is a 35-year-old Aaron Donald.
Wow.
And the stadium just erupts. The offensive line frantically adjusts their slide protection, and in that one single moment, the entire geometry of a championship football game shifts.
It really does.
So today, we are looking at a theoretical, yet, incredibly compelling opportunity that comes directly from our source material. Aaron Donald returning to a ready-to-win Los Angeles Rams roster.
Right, the 2026 Rams.
Exactly. So the central question we're tackling today is, should Aaron Donald come out of retirement for one final Super Bowl run in a specialized role, or does returning after leaving quote-unquote complete unnecessarily risk his physical well-being and a perfectly sealed legacy?
Yes, a huge question.
So I will argue that Donald should return because a specialized situational role on a ready-to-win Rams roster offers an unprecedented opportunity to elevate his legacy with a second ring.
And I will argue that Donald should not return, emphasizing that after a grueling 10-season career that left him with nothing to prove, returning in a diminished capacity really just risks tarnishing a flawless exit.
So let's start with the reality of the 2026 Los Angeles Rams, right? Because we have to ground this in the actual football landscape.
Right.
If this team were, in a rebuilding phase,
Yeah.
drafting a rookie quarterback, stripping the roster down to the studs,
Sure.
this conversation just doesn't exist. He is not coming back for a 6-win season.
No, definitely not.
But they are built for a Super Bowl run right now. And my core argument for why he should come back really centers on the fact that his return wouldn't require him to be the 2018, MVP caliber Aaron Donald.
Okay.
We aren't asking him to play 60 snaps, take on double teams against the run on first down, and basically carry the defense.
Right.
We're talking about capitalizing on a perfectly timed roster window by deploying him purely as a rotational closer.
See, but the phrase rotational closer
Yeah,
dramatically oversimplifies what is actually required to play defensive tackle in the National Football League.
Well, if you're listening to this and thinking, come on, he's Aaron Donald, he's superhuman, he can easily play 15 or 20 snaps a game.
he is superhuman.
He is, but you are vastly underestimating what 2 years of total inactivity does to the tendons, the ligaments, and the central nervous system of a 35-year-old man. Football, particularly in the interior trenches, it is not a sport you can just casually drop back into.
You know what? I'll give you that. The soft tissue injury risk is
It's massive.
genuinely terrifying. I admit the thought of him coming out of retirement, pulling a hamstring in week 3 and spending the rest of the year in a tracksuit on the sideline,
Yeah,
that is a nightmare scenario.
it really is.
But isn't greatness always sort of adjacent to disaster? If we look at how he actually changes the game, I think the reward outweighs that physical risk. Because we aren't just throwing him out there blindly.
Okay.
Think about the mechanics of how an NFL defense operates on a passing down. When Aaron Donald lines up in the B gap on 3rd and long,
Right.
what happens?
Well, the center and the guard have to pinch. They have to double team him.
Exactly. They mathematically have to double team him because no single interior lineman on earth can block him one-on-one.
Right.
So what is the mechanism there? Because he demands 600 pounds of blockers on every single snap he plays.
Yeah.
He mathematically creates one-on-one matchups for every single edge rusher the Rams have.
Sure.
He doesn't even need to touch the quarterback to ruin an offensive coordinator's game plan. The defensive coordinator can drop 7 guys into coverage, play 2 high safeties, and still get pressure because Donald is occupying 2 men.
Yeah.
His mere presence alters the field geometry. That doesn't require him to be 28 years old. It just requires him to be Aaron Donald for 15 specific snaps a game.
I don't dispute the X's and O's of slide protections.
Right.
You are absolutely right about the geometry. The issue is the physiological reality of executing those 15 snaps.
Okay.
You want him to go from a resting state on the sideline wearing a heavy coat in December
Yeah.
to suddenly producing a maximum intensity, violent burst of speed and power
against a 320-pound guard who is completely warmed up, sweating, and has been in the rhythm of the game for 2 hours.
But that happens with situational pass rushers all the time.
Not with 35-year-olds who have spent 2 years on a couch.
Well,
The human body does not handle sudden spikes of intense reactive load well. Tendon elasticity drops significantly in your mid-30s.
I know, but
You lose the literal physical calluses that you build up during training camp.
yeah.
Plus, you have to look at the psychological makeup of a player. You are talking about a fiercely competitive athlete, a guy who dictated the entire pace of the NFL for a decade.
Absolutely.
Can a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year truly accept standing on the sideline on 1st and 2nd down, watching his team get run over, just patiently waiting for his rotational opportunity?
That's an interesting point, though I would frame it differently.
Okay.
Because we accept and even celebrate extreme specialization in almost every other high-level sport specifically to preserve aging greatness.
Like what?
Well, think about this proposed version of Aaron Donald like a legendary closer in baseball,
Oh, okay.
right? Why must a defensive tackle play 60 snaps to be considered immensely valuable?
Because that's football.
But if a Major League Baseball team can take their most dominant, overpowering pitcher and preserve his arm so he only pitches the final 3 outs of a tight playoff game,
Right.
why can't Sean McVay use the most dominant defensive tackle in history for only the most crucial 3rd downs of a game?
I see what you're saying, but...
The closer doesn't pitch the first 8 innings, but his impact is what secures the championship.
Yeah, the closer analogy is clever, but it completely breaks down when you examine the biomechanics of the two sports.
How so?
A baseball closer operates in a relatively static, controlled environment. He stands alone on a mound, he dictates the timing of the pitch, and he executes a highly repetitive kinetic motion.
Right, it's closed loop.
Exactly. And he is throwing a 5-ounce baseball. Aaron Donald operates in a dynamic, highly reactive, chaotic environment.
Well, sure.
He isn't throwing a ball, he is absorbing the force of 2 massive human beings trying to physically displace him off his axis.
I know, but
A closer can warm up gradually in the bullpen to get his shoulder loose. You cannot simulate the violent leverage of an NFL double team on the sideline with a resistance band.
I mean, the environment is certainly more chaotic, but we have seen what happens when Donald gets an opportunity to close out a championship in high-leverage moments.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl against the Bengals is the perfect example. When they needed one play, he made it.
He did.
And that really brings us to what a successful return actually means for his historical standing. Let's pivot from the physical limitations to the legacy ceiling.
Okay.
Because if he successfully navigates this specialized role, if he comes back for this one final Super Bowl run,
Right.
he accomplishes something entirely unprecedented.
I think you are brushing past the danger of what happens if he doesn't.
But think about the upside. He already has his ring. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
But imagine the narrative weight of coming out of retirement specifically because he sees this Rams roster, returning to the field, navigating the grueling NFC playoffs, and hoisting a second Lombardi trophy before walking away again.
I mean, it sounds great, but
The second ring completely validates the comeback, and the comeback immortalizes that second ring. It takes a flawless career and elevates it into sports mythology. We would talk about that specific run forever.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why.
Oh, okay.
You are blinded by the romance of the narrative. You're assuming the absolute best-case scenario in a sport that notoriously aggressively produces the worst-case scenario.
Well,
To achieve this Hollywood ending, you are assuming they stay healthy, they win the highly competitive NFC West, they navigate the playoffs, and he makes the game-winning play.
greatness requires assuming risk.
But he has already achieved greatness. Our source material explicitly acknowledges that he has absolutely nothing left to prove to anyone.
I agree with that.
He didn't just win Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. He fundamentally broke how offenses scouted the interior line for an entire generation.
Right.
I call this the legacy tax. We constantly demand that great athletes pay a physical and reputational tax on their future just to chase an emotional high they can never fully replicate.
The legacy tax. That's a good term.
It is. Think about Reggie White coming out of retirement to play for the Carolina Panthers in 2000.
I mean, that was different. He went to a completely new franchise.
But the mechanics of the return are the same. White was a legend, he took a year off, came back at age 38 and managed 5.5 sacks.
Right.
He looked like a shadow of the Minister of Defense, or think of Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards.
Oh, come on.
Yes,
There were flashes of brilliance, but it muddied the pristine memory of the pose he struck in Utah, holding the follow-through in 1998.
I don't know if I agree that it muddied it.
Walking away on top, perfectly healthy, is the ultimate Hollywood ending. Why gamble a perfectly closed, curated legacy for a team achievement that is never guaranteed?
Because
What if he gets pancake blocked by a 23-year-old rookie in the divisional round? It ruins the memory of his exit.
is that memory really ruined, though?
I think so.
Look, I hear what you were saying about the legacy tax. It is a brilliant way to frame it. But I strongly push back on the idea that falling short in a valiant, targeted comeback destroys what you built over a decade.
It doesn't destroy it, but it chips away at it.
Did the Wizards' years actually ruin Michael Jordan's legacy?
No.
When we talk about Jordan, we talk about the 6 rings. We talk about his first comeback, when he sent the "I'm back" fax and dropped 55 points in Madison Square Garden.
Right.
We don't view legacy purely as an exercise in loss aversion. Elite competitors do not view their careers through the lens of protecting a museum exhibit.
But they should. When the museum exhibit is already fully built, you are asking him to risk his long-term spinal health for a narrative.
I'm asking him to answer the bell if he sees a clear path to a championship. Which brings us to the most critical layer of this entire debate, honestly, which is the internal drive of the athlete.
Right.
Because we can sit here and debate field geometry, tendon elasticity, and legacy risks all day long.
Yeah.
But as the source material rightly points out, there is one giant caveat that overrides everything we've discussed. Aaron Donald has to genuinely want it.
Yes, and that is a massive, perhaps insurmountable hurdle.
Isn't?
The text notes that he originally retired in 2023 because he felt complete. We have to respect the gravity of that specific word, complete.
Right.
He didn't retire because he blew out his knee. He didn't retire because a younger player took his starting job.
No.
He retired because his psychological and emotional cup was full.
I agree, but emotions are not static. The feeling of being complete in February of 2024 doesn't mean you won't feel a burning void in October of 2026.
I don't know about a void.
Well, if he is working out in his home gym and that competitive fire is coming back,
Yeah.
if he is watching this specific Rams roster, dissecting opponents on Sunday and thinking, my God, with me in the middle, this defense is impenetrable. We could actually win the Super Bowl.
Right.
That specific desire is the spark that makes his whole structural opportunity viable. If his heart wasn't in it, I would completely agree with you. Stay on the couch, enjoy your family, you've earned it.
Exactly.
But if the desire is there, suppressing it just out of fear that you might tarnish your legacy seems fundamentally contrary to the very spirit that made him a legend in the first place.
You are romanticizing the desire.
How so?
The desire to play football on a Sunday in the playoffs is very different from the desire to endure a Wednesday padded practice in November.
Well, yeah.
You have to weigh that fleeting, emotional desire against the sheer volume of quote-unquote what-ifs required to make this gamble pay off.
Okay.
We've talked about the soft tissue risks, but the text explicitly highlights that football takes an unbelievable, compounding toll on the body.
It does.
We cannot gloss over what 10 seasons in the interior trenches does to a human spine, to the knees, to the shoulders.
Yeah.
2 years of retirement finally allowed those joints to stop absorbing weekly car crashes.
Sure.
Translating the desire to win a ring into the physical execution required to survive an NFL season is a monumental ask.
It is a monumental ask, but Aaron Donald is a monumental athlete.
Of course.
We are not talking about a fringe starter. We are talking about arguably the most uniquely gifted defensive player of the modern era.
Definitely.
And opportunities to join a ready-to-win championship contender don't just materialize out of thin air.
No, they don't.
Usually, if an aging star wants to chase one last ring, they have to sign with a random team, uproot their family, put on an unfamiliar uniform, and learn a completely new defensive scheme.
Right, like Reggie White.
Exactly. But Donald has the chance to do it at home, in Los Angeles, with Sean McVay, and a defensive scheme he inherently understands.
Yeah?
It is a frictionless path to a championship run.
Frictionless? There is no such thing as a frictionless path in professional football.
You know what I mean.
I hear your point about the familiarity of the Rams, but the logic relies entirely on the premise that everything goes right.
Well,
If the prerequisite for this entire thought experiment is that his heart must be completely in it,
I would argue that a player who has been happily, comfortably retired for 2 years cannot, by definition, have his heart completely in it the way a 24-year-old trying to secure his first contract does.
I mean, it's a different kind of motivation.
The moment he takes a blindside hit to the ribs in a meaningless regular season game, the memory of exactly why he retired will come rushing back. The physical risks simply far outweigh the romantic appeal of this comeback.
Look, when you strip all the romanticism away, here is the reality of my position.
Okay.
The NFL rarely, if ever, offers perfect alignment, but a ready-to-win Los Angeles Rams team combined with a highly specialized, low-volume, high-impact role creates a strategic window that is almost too perfect to ignore.
It is tempting.
By coming back to anchor the defensive line on high-leverage passing downs, he doesn't need to be the Iron Man he once was. He just needs to change the geometry of the field when it matters most.
Yeah.
It is an irresistible opportunity to secure a second ring and cement a completely unparalleled comeback chapter in the history of the sport.
And the reality of my stance is that the physical toll of 10 grinding seasons in the trenches cannot be magically erased by a 2-year hiatus.
Right.
The biomechanics of being a 35-year-old attempting to instantly produce high-leverage violence on third downs is physically precarious and psychologically jarring.
Yeah.
He already walked away feeling completely fulfilled with every accolade imaginable. The legacy tax is too high.
Yeah, I hear you.
The risks to his long-term health and his flawless exit far outweigh the theoretical reward of a second championship.
It is a stark dividing line between us. But despite our very different frameworks for how he should approach 2026, I think we have clearly converged on the fundamental truth established by the source material.
Which is?
Aaron Donald does not need football to prove his greatness.
Absolutely not. Whether he comes back to chase this Super Bowl or stays comfortably in retirement, his status as a first-ballot Hall of Famer and one of the most terrifying game-breaking defensive forces in history is entirely secure.
Oh, yeah.
The league knows who he is. There is no debate there.
It really leaves us reflecting on a fascinating tension inherent not just to football, but to all great human endeavors.
Yeah.
The tension between preserving a perfect exit and answering the enduring, sometimes irrational call of the competitive fire.
Right.
How much do we value the pristine closure of a sealed legacy versus the messy, risky, but potentially transcendent pursuit of one more triumph?
It forces us to ask whether the perfect ending is actually the end, or if true greatness always leaves room for one more chapter.
It is the eternal question for every great competitor who has ever tasted the top of the mountain.
And one that only number 99 can answer.
Thank you for joining us on The Debate.